Okay.
I know you. I know you. You'll just start talking. You'll just start the show without any sort of intro or anything like that.
I already gave away the gold.
What's the gold?
You weren't even here. Did all my
Oh,
best bits already.
did you drop ass? Well,
I started without you.
I was just watching Hodge rip me off.
The Blu-ray updates.
Part 2 of his Blu-ray collection.
Way to go, Hodge.
Oh, it's good. I encourage it. I want to see more people doing it.
You want to see my Blu-ray collection?
I have a feeling it's a big fat zero.
I have 2.
Do you?
I do.
And you have the Blu-ray player?
Yeah. I've had a Blu-ray player for a long time. I just don't use it.
What 2 movies do you own?
Okay, I had to remind myself the first one. A few years back, I was given a copy of A Christmas Story on Blu-ray.
Oh, I only have that on DVD.
Oh, same? Yeah, keep up. And I bought Predator.
Very nice.
Yep.
I couldn't tell you the amount of times I have purchased Predator. And now it's out in 4K, and I'm thinking of buying it again.
Is there anything wrong with the one you have?
No. But the 4K one's supposed to be very well done. I'll pick it up when it goes on sale. I can grab it for $10-15. I think it's worth it. For the amount of time we watch Predator.
Well, I suppose that's true. That's one of those movies you just have to get on whatever the latest platform is. Even though the latest platform now is just minor little tweaks and little, oh, look, it's slightly sharper.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's not a big leap, as big of a leap as, say, from VHS to DVD, or
Right.
DVD to Blu-ray. But you do get some sweet extras in there.
Who are they going to interview now? The guy who shook the tree as the Predator walked by?
No, I mean, like, in terms of audio, like the audio quality is a nice big bump. But the thing is, you need a receiver to decode the audio. So,
well, yeah, go buy more stuff.
Well, I already have one, so thankfully I'm covered. And you need the player. The player needs to be able to play the Dolby Atmos, and I got that. So I'm all covered. I got it all.
All right. It's like you were born to buy Blu-rays.
But I tell you, man, like I was watching that Mad Max Fury Road, and I'd been watching, like, I probably watched about, 20 or so Blu-rays. And then Mad Max Fury Road's the first 4K I threw on in a while, and it was like, boom. I noticed that difference big time. It's sharper. It's very sharp image, which some people actually might not like. You might like a softer image because it looks more film-like, you know?
That's, yes. I'm doing the Mad Max GIF. Oh, me too, man.
But I don't know. It looked really sharp. And that audio is just booming. I had actually scaled down my audio setup from a 7.1 because it was just too much because my room is a little bit smaller to a 5.1. And now I kind of wish I had a bigger room to do the 7.1 to experience it all. But whatever. It's all good.
I am not a fan of the super sharp image. It looks too smooth and the speed gets thrown off. I'm accustomed to that classic film speed where things kind of blur and it moves at a certain pace.
Well, it's still 24 frames. It's not 60 frames. You know, if you go bump up to that, then you definitely get that soap opera look. So they still keep it at 24 frames for that reason. But just the image itself is sharper. You know, it's not like, you know, like, I don't know if you know, because I don't know if you've ever seen a 4K TV, but when you put 1080p into the 4K, it looks a little blurry. You know, you notice and you really notice it with the movies. But anyways,
I'm happy with what I got.
If you're happy with what you got, then don't worry about it. Just stick with what you got.
Different strokes to rule the world.
That's right.
To rule the world? To move the world? How does that song go?
I don't know. I don't even know what song you're quoting.
Different Strokes. Theme song, Different
Different
Strokes.
strokes to move. Oh, the theme song. Yeah,
To
I guess so.
move the world or
World.
to rule the world?
I think it's to move the world.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was trying to rule the world on Different Strokes.
Oh, Mr. Drummond was.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I think people need more Different Strokes in their life right now. People need to settle down and watch that show.
Oh my goodness. We're talking about life.
Yeah, real life.
That's a deep topic for this show.
Know. Oh my goodness. So much craziness happening.
You know, we've talked before about when it's good to reboot a movie.
Yes.
Like, what are the right conditions? You don't reboot a movie when it's a successful movie. You take something that was a good idea, but it just wasn't executed all that well. So, like, can we reboot a country? Is it possible to just say, "Hey, you know what?
Let's just start
from
from
scratch. The ideas are good. You look back through history; it wasn't done all that well."
You know, I just have a feeling that you'd end up in the same situation again, because it doesn't seem to matter how clear you are in the language that you use when you say something. When you say, like, yeah, it's okay for people to have guns, as long as they form a militia and it's done for the right reasons, and they'll still look into it and say, no, everyone can carry missile launchers, man. Like, that's what they're saying, man. That's what, so they'll always interpret it and mess things up and screw things up. But I tell you, man, with this police brutality thing, there's got to be something like in their training that they're telling these officers to do, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, if it was just a few departments that had this problem, well, then, those are your bad apples. But it's every department that seems to have this issue. Every single one from coast to coast has the exact same issue. And that is that they don't listen, man. Like, if anything that these videos show is that the cops go into these situations and they're not listening to anybody, what anyone's saying. They're going in like as if it's a SWAT. They're going into a house, arrest everybody, drag them outside, and we'll figure it out later. And that's not what you do in a riot situation, or a demonstration.
Riot is one thing. I could see cops needing to be a bit aggressive. You don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, demonstrations. I don't know. There's so many clips and videos and tellings of, this happened and that happened, and some of it you don't know. All right, is this all 100% true? If it is, it's shockingly disturbing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I retweeted this one video this week where these shop owners stopped some looters. They decided to stay at their residence, at their operation, their shop, and there were some looters that were trying to break in and that. So they stopped them. They started flagging the cops down. Hey, come on over here. Come on and help us. And there happened to be a TV crew there. Well, it was just a camera and a reporter. And they flag the cops. The cops make a circle, come back around, and they show up and they just arrest the shopkeepers. And it didn't matter what the shopkeeper said, didn't matter what the camera crew said, didn't matter what the reporter said, didn't matter what anyone said. They were just in there and they were not listening at all.
No, it's bizarre because I saw the clip, and she's, the camera, the reporter is saying over and over, they're the owners, they're the owners, they're the owners. Why are you handcuffing them? And the cop, after, a minute or so, is like, oh, don't worry, we're handcuffing them. It's like, did you hear anything that was going on?
Nothing.
And the other disturbing moment of that is the only time that they try to get some information out of anybody, they ask the white lady.
Yeah, I know. It's really sad. Really sad. And, I imagine you saw the one where they pushed down the old guy, the 79-year-old, and he hits his head on the concrete. And the one cop tried to bend down and help him right away. And they were like, no, you keep moving on. Keep moving on. Don't even acknowledge that whatever just happened. And then they tried to claim that the guy just fell down. And the video shows that he was clearly pushed. It just, day after day, something else keeps happening. It just
Yeah.
keeps making them look worse and worse. But there has to be something where they train these officers to read a situation. Sure, you have your training, sure you have, procedure and what you're supposed to follow and that, but not every situation requires that procedure. And you have to be able to read the situation and adapt to what's
Yeah.
going on. And they don't seem to possess that ability.
It seems like a lot of police officers just have an inferiority complex compared to the military. So when something like this goes down, they all want to seem like, yeah, we're doing our part. We're gonna, these are American citizens.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be there to assist
Yeah.
and protect.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one video that got me the most was there was like a handful, maybe a half a dozen people doing a protest in Texas, and I believe the majority of the protesters, if not all of them, were white. And then another gentleman comes up with a chainsaw and is complaining like, "Why are you trying to help black people?" He used a different term, but he was complaining about like, why are you doing this? Why are you helping them? Go home, knock it off. I got a chainsaw. I'm gonna cut you up. And I'm watching thinking like, why is he so upset about people just trying to help other people? And it clicks is because he knows, like many other people do, that white privilege is a real thing, and he is terrified if it's going to be taken away.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, if that little ace up your sleeve goes away, you suddenly have to start working just as hard as everybody else. You can't get by with that, inborn safety net.
It's sad,
just
man.
it's shocking. How much money does Canada have? Can you
I don't
buy
know.
the IP to America and just reboot it?
Listen, we have our problems here too. We are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We have our nasty history. I just want to say hello to Eric in the chat. You tuned in at a great moment.
We're going to talk about the Sega Master System soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, what's coming up? Go Velius. We've had our issues with in the indigenous people. We tried to, indoctrinate them and all that. It's the whole Christian thing and all that, and you got to leave behind all your beliefs and put them in schools and dress them a certain way. We have a whole messy history that's actually, it comes about every once in a while where they start shutting down railroads here and that. So we have our problems too. We're not perfect, but we definitely dodged a bullet with the slavery thing. We took care of that right off the bat. We didn't have a civil war over it, so that's one thing that's in our favor. But yeah, we have the same problems here, and things could easily go down that road here too. So
there are a lot of demonstrations going on in Canada.
All of them have been peaceful so far. I actually saw some rumors today that people were really concerned that there was some nefarious people this afternoon that were spotted in Toronto that might use some of the demonstrations as an excuse to riot. But so far it's been okay. We did have, like in the past, we had the stupid, like, this is the one thing I don't understand. When your sports team wins a championship and you go and you riot, that
absolutely flip a few cars over.
Yeah, Montreal is pretty bad for that. Montreal is
look what we did.
Yeah, Montreal is like really bad for that. It's sad. It's sad to see. And then Toronto, they've had their issues. It was actually kind of amazing, like last year when the Raptors won and they went and they had this parade, and it was just it was a clusterfuck. Like, it was not organized properly, and it was a complete mess. And somehow we got through that without any sort of major craziness. There was a little bit of craziness, but nothing major. And then a few years ago, Vancouver went nuts. Maybe 10, 15 years ago, they had big riots there when their the Canucks, the Vancouver Canucks, lost. At least they lost, so you can kind of understand.
No, I can't understand these
That
sports
they were
riots at all.
well, you can understand that they were upset. That's all I mean. I can understand that they were upset.
Yeah.
But the rioting thing, no, that doesn't make any sense.
The team that you like watching, they did not win.
Yeah.
Let me go flip over some cars and set fire to the community. I don't get it. Sports people are nuts.
It is really incredible, though, how long, like it's been 10, 11 days now that this has been going on. Like the demonstrations and that have been going on. It's like people just have had enough. They are just done with this completely.
Well, it's justified.
Yeah.
This demonstration, the riots are one thing. That is, there are people who are sending the wrong message, people who are just following on the heels of what other people started, and they are confusing the message and they are making it worse for everybody. The demonstration aspect of it is completely justified and necessary, and it has potential to be bigger than, you know, the I Have a Dream speech if it's done properly and the right people come to the forefront. It's an old topic. Nothing has changed, you know, in how many years?
See, isn't that part of the problem, though, is that they've done the peaceful thing for so long and it's gotten them nowhere. Like Black Lives Matter, that they tried to get that thing traction and it was just seen as a joke. Oh, no, all lives matter. And like you don't understand the nuance between, you know, like if you like the way I look at it with Black Lives Matter is you got a town, right? You got a whole little town and there's a house that's on fire. Does it make sense to go around and wet every house in your town? Hey, we got to protect everybody. No, maybe you should take care of the house that's on fire. You know, sure, it's a good idea to wet all the homes before a fire starts, but once it starts and it's there, you got to put that one out. You know, so that's how I look at Black Lives Matter. Forget your All Lives Matter. But, you know, they tried that. They tried to occupy Wall Street. They tried the peaceful stuff for so long, you know, and people just had it. They had it, you know?
I'll tell you, it's not the rules and regulations. It's the mentality of a certain group. And it's a white people problem. That's, you know, a lot of the things that come up. It's people are afraid of losing that privilege.
Yeah.
That they feel like we earned it because hundreds of years ago some other people fought for independence, and you know, we are their descendants. We're the ones that earned it, so we get it first. And
well, you have a small group of people in the United States that just control everything. You know, they own everything, and all they do is take. They don't give anything. They just keep take. They take everything. Nothing's given. And that, I think that's where people have just had it. Like, it's not just George Floyd. It is like all, you know, the injustices that have been done to Black people. It is, you know, just like, and the whole COVID thing, COVID-19, and it just shows the discrepancy that you have between the haves and the have-nots. And people just had it. They had it. And you know what? Like even in Star Trek, you know, they ended up in that utopian society, but they had to go through World War III to get there. You know, and it happened around this time in Star Trek timeline. So who knows? We might be headed there. Might be headed to another civil war in the United States. Who knows? It's wild.
You ever read Animal Farm?
Yep. 2 legs good, 4 legs bad.
Yeah. All pigs are, no, what is it? All animals are equal. Some are more equal than others.
Yeah. George Orwell, man. George Orwell is ahead of his time.
Okay.
Anyways, it's got to get worse before it gets better. And I think
transition
it will get better.
time.
All right. Quick Save Club is playing Antichamber. CC Prime is playing Gears of War. RF Gen is playing Cannon Spike on the Dreamcast. And CC Portable. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. I have inside information.
Yeah, explain this. I was trying to find a, you know, statement somewhere.
I don't think there has
for
been a
this?
statement officially yet. I don't think his episode has been up, but I guess I'll say that this month CC Portable is playing CC Portable Mania, which means that you could play any portable game, any handheld game. Just play whatever. Play whatever. Yeah, they can just play whatever. And then the rest I'll have to tell you after the podcast.
Okay.
I'll tell you after. Because I don't know if I'm allowed to scoop. I don't know if I'm allowed to go in and scoop. Oh, Curtis tweeted this morning? Okay, thanks, Eric. Okay. CC Portable's done. It's good to get that off my chest. Yeah, Curtis doesn't want to do it anymore. He's giving it up. I actually talked to him back in March, I think, and I was telling him how, like, he was just like, I'm kind of getting burnt out and I want to do other things. And I was telling him how we were in the Quick Save Club going to go every 2 months, So I said, why not just maybe do a game every 2 months or maybe even every 3 months? You do a game every 4 times a year or something like that. Spread it out so you don't feel compelled.
Wait. Did he really tweet about this? The post says this is the first and last Cartridge Club Portable Mania.
No, he meant the Mania part. Oh, okay. Well, sorry. It's out there now. I can't edit it out. We live stream. Anyways, yeah, he's done. So there you go. Listen to that episode. It was good. that ended out. I'm blaming Eric. He told me that he tweeted it this morning. So there you go.
Oh, boy. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, way to go, Eric. Oh, he's joking. Okay, good. Okay, don't confuse us, man. We're not. We can't hear the nuance in your voice, with the typing and all that. Okay, we're all good.
Hey, how do you see what's being said? I don't see anything from Eric up there.
You go into on the side. It says comments. So there's a private chat.
Private chat and okay, live comments. Look at that.
There you go.
Okay.
It's the first time we had anyone commenting on the live stream. Actually, we had Steven in here. But I guess Richard didn't care enough to read Steven's.
I didn't know what to click on over here.
Anyways.
JK, you knew what that meant, huh?
Joke. I'm cool. I'm up on the lingo.
Okay.
Anyways, I got some extra information for you. But I'll save that for after the podcast. All I will say is that apparently we have inspired the beginning of yet another podcast.
Oh boy.
Possibly.
I'll
Yep.
give myself one of them, huh?
Well, if the show is good, if we listen to it good, if it sucks, then we had nothing to do with it. That's how Trump does it, right? Take the credit for everything that's good. Anything bad, oh man.
Not to go back a step here.
Let's go back.
It is going to be disgustingly uncomfortable if the movement does move forward in a positive way. How Trump is going to attempt to take credit for it.
Oh,
from his.
And he will. And he will.
Did you see that CNN clip of Trump was asked his opinion on the movement and what's going on with racism and injustice in America, and all of his answers go to completely different topics. Oh yeah, and the reporter there is just like he's speechless. He doesn't know what to say about it was like this is what's going on. This is reality.
It's word salad, man. Anyone could do it. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. Ask me a question. I'll give you word salad. Just ask me a question. Anything at all.
What's your favorite Sega Master System game?
Let me tell you. The Sega Master System is the greatest console ever made. It is fantastic. And what we're going to do is going to be even better than the Sega Master System. The Sega Master System was great, but what we have is going to be even better than that machine. And people are going to love it. They're all going to want it. The sales are going to be incredible. People are going to go out of their way. You're going to want to line up now to get yourself in line for a pre-order for this machine because it is going to be so fantastic that I mean, people are just going to go crazy for it. And everybody's saying it. Everybody's saying it. I can go on, but that's pretty much what he does. And he never answers the question. And Eric wants a plug for his shirts because he's selling Sega Master System shirts.
Oh.
We should have had Eric on in this episode. Should have came in. Anyways,
I noticed that you started advertising the show before it happened with all the
I did that today
and everything. Yeah.
I did that today. I was sitting there and I was like, oh man, I got to set this thing up. I'm forgetting to set this thing up. And when I did, I said, you know what? I'll just tweet it out. See what happens. I should do it a lot earlier, days and days in advance, but I don't care that much. Fandango, this month we're doing 70s Jack Nicholson. We're doing Last Detail, 5 Easy Pieces, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I haven't put those movies yet in the folder because I'm waiting to go back to work because I was off this week. And when I go in on Monday, that'll be
off
the first
again?
Thing. Yeah, for just this week. And then my vacation. They forced me to, they really encouraged me to take some vacation time, even though nobody wants to take vacation right now because you can't go do anything. They're like, no, you really need to take vacation. All right, fine. So in a few weeks from now, I'll be on vacation.
I just found out they're going to start letting all the students back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to go sit in a box with a bunch of people.
Things are getting way too comfortable, man. I could see it. If COVID is what they say it is, it's going to spike because you got the protesters out there and they got to be spreading it no matter what, all the masks in the world. And then everybody's going back to the stores. They can't leave the broken toys alone at Value Village. They got to go there and pick up vinyl records, and they don't even have a turntable. They're not even going to use them. People just feel compelled to go do these things. Meanwhile, Sarah and I look at each other like, should we go out? Nah, we really shouldn't. We should just stay here. I mean, we don't need to go out. So we do some online shopping, get it out of our system, and then, we're good.
Where in the world are you going to find like a quality T-shirt online?
I don't know. If only someone made a quality T-shirt, like with like a Sega Master System logo on it or something. That'd be awesome. Maybe someone will throw a link in the chat, and we can plug it. Maybe. All right.
I totally forgot that you sent me that Star Wars movie.
What Star Wars movie? Oh,
See?
That's right. Did you watch it? Rogue One. That's right. Did you watch it?
No, I completely forgot. You just mentioned the Fandango folder. I was like, oh, right.
That's right. I forgot I put it in there. So, yeah, you're supposed to watch it at some point.
Right.
So we can talk about it, I guess.
You did see it, right?
A long time ago.
Okay.
Like, when it first came on Netflix. I don't know how many years ago. And
I didn't on Netflix. I thought all the Disney stuff goes to the Disney thing. Years ago.
That's how long ago this was. And there is still, I don't know about in the States, but here in Canada, there is still some Disney stuff that's lingering on Netflix, probably because the rights haven't run out or whatever.
There are a couple of the Marvel movies,
yeah,
like Iron Man or something.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Netflix, Kung Fu Hustle is on our Netflix here in Canada.
Yeah, it's on mine.
Okay. Well, it just came to here in Canada, so I'll think about watching it.
Why? You hated the soccer one?
We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me get this done. Next month in July, we're doing Josh and Curtis's Treehouse. They have picked 2 movies for us to watch. We're not sure who picked what, but one of the movies is called Attack the Block, and the other one is called It Follows. And the leftovers from the movies that they chosen, there was Defender, Dope, 8th Grade, The Lobster, Midsommar, and Wet Hot American Summer. If you go over to our Discord, you can vote for one of those movies to be the 3rd movie in July's Fandango. Right now, as we speak, on June 6th, D-Day, 8th Grade is in first place. 8th Grade is leading the charge.
Also, it's not chosen.
It's not chosen yet.
Okay.
Nothing's set in stone yet. But so far, 8th Grade has a leap. I don't know when it's going to run out, so you better go do it now. Okay. But yeah, let's talk about these things, and then I'll talk about Shaolin Soccer in the movie talk.
Talk about what things? What are you talking about?
You put in a couple things in here. We got 4 Against Darkness.
Oh, okay. You want me to talk about my stuff, the awesome stuff? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, 4 Against Darkness. That's that pen and paper dungeon game where you create your party. You pick out like 4 characters. Like, well, I'm gonna be a barbarian. I'm gonna be a dwarf. Barbarian's gonna have an axe. The wizard can cast fireball, stuff like that.
Yes.
And then you get some dice.
Does it have to be that funny sided dice, or can it just be like
they're regular dice? What we call D6, because it's a 6-sided die. Yeah. There's also like D20, 20-sided die. But this is a simple game, just regular dice, and you roll dice, and it randomly generates a room, and then you find out what's inside the room. Could be treasure, could be monsters, could be a trap or puzzle, and then you wander along, and you draw everything out. Look at this, Eric gets to see.
Well, and anyone watching later gets to see.
Yeah, look at that. So you get like little dungeon maps and things like that going on.
Did you draw that? No, you didn't.
I did.
That looks awesome.
Isn't that cool?
You used a ruler though.
This is graph paper. That's the rule. You get a copy of the rule book. You get some graph paper, pencil, eraser, a couple of dice. You're good to play. And it's really fun. It's really, really fun. My first adventure, I had a barbarian turn to stone, and then we battled a giant spider.
Nice.
It's great.
So do you make up the map before you start?
Nope.
Or it's as you go?
It's all random. You have no idea what you're getting into.
So, okay. So you start on square 1. You roll the dice. You go to square 2. How do you know what happens? Okay. In the instruction manuals, it has stuff like this. Okay.
Where they give you an idea of what the room looks like.
Oh, I see.
So you get up there and you roll 2 dice. So let's say you roll any combination of dice. You decide which one's going to be your 10s and which one's your 1s. So if I roll a 61, then I look map 61. It's like, okay, that's what it's supposed to look like. And I draw it, and it has a certain number of doors or a hallway. It can be a room or a corridor, which has an effect on battle and stuff, because corridors are tighter, so only 2 characters can be up front, and then they will be the ones attacking and receiving damage, or the ones in the back, they can't quite hit over their friends. And then you just link room to room, and then you roll and see, like, okay, in this room there are some rats, so you kill some rats. And then other times you might find a dragon. Pick up stuff you find along the way. You find better weapons, you find potions, you find magic scrolls. This is just like playing any dungeon crawler video game.
So
it's fun.
What happens? Like, do the enemies scale or something like that to your, like, how like you're only at level 1, right, at the beginning of the game? Can you accidentally run into a level 30 dragon on your first roll?
Yes, the second mission that I did, I went through maybe about 6 rooms or so, and we were in this narrow corridor. All my characters were level 1, and I roll. It's like, oh, what's in here? Oh, monster. Okay, roll on this table. What kind of monsters are going to be? Dragon. It's like the most powerful thing in the game. And I was like, I haven't found any items. I haven't leveled up yet. Like, I haven't done anything significant in this campaign, and now I'm fighting a dragon. So I was like, all right, here goes. And pretty quickly, my elf, my wizard, both died. I had 2 characters left. I was like, forget this. We're running. We decided to run out. But the wizard was the one carrying the lantern, and somebody has to carry a lantern in this, and I couldn't stop to pick it up because I was running from a dragon. So without the lantern, the remaining two characters were at like -2 for all their rolls for attack and defense. And on the way out, we were running to the exit. We got attacked by some vampire bats,
Oh my god!
and they destroyed my dwarf. And then the rogue just she limped out of there. Just failure of a mission.
That's too much.
It happens.
Pressure. Too much pressure. My goodness.
Story-wise, though, it's working out nice because I can attach a little narrative to it. Like in the first campaign, I had 4 characters, and 1 was turned to stone, and then the other 3 got out. The next adventure, I decided to go 4 new characters, and only 1 survived. So, like, I can have them meet up, and then they could continue on. So I write a little narrative, very short synopsis of like what was the setup. The one I'm doing now, I decided to mess around with it because the way the game works is you're supposed to pick an entrance point, and you go in, and the goal is basically just to fight the main monster that's in there. I thought, you know what, I can play around with this because these rules are very flexible and they're very approachable. So I made a scenario where I'm starting in the center of the dungeon. I had a scenario where some people were taken captive and they were being forced to mine, and then there was an accident. There was a cave-in, so their captors were killed, and they were able to take their weapons, and now they're just trying to find their way out. So they're starting in the center, but with very few supplies, and they're trying to make their way to an exit. And so far, it's going okay. I just did run across some hobgoblins. My 2 warriors took some damage, but they survived.
You're making me want to play an RPG on the computer.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Sounds fun.
That's the weird thing. I've never been able to get into RPGs, video game wise. All those turn-based things. It always seems so boring to me. But it's exactly what I'm doing, and I think because I really enjoy just drawing the map. And having this little thing, and that's the best part. When you're done, you have the map, and you can look through it, and I can remember the story of how they went through and who they fought. I like it. And it's a single-player experience.
Eric complimented your maps. He said they were very nice.
Oh, thank you.
Mrs. Q-Dog says graph paper is serious business.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah.
It's actually not graph paper that I'm using. It's a Japanese notebook, and characters are traditionally kept in little like boxes. So, but it's less busy than graph paper because they're not solid lines, but you still get the little indications of squares. So. Easy on the eyes.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dude, is there a character like that you painted? A little miniature? That's
for this game? No.
No? Okay.
No, you can use them as like visual markers. I did see a video online of someone who had like dungeon tiles and things, and he was kind of visually displaying it as he would go through.
Yeah.
But no, I just keep this pen and paper. I do have my little miniatures from my other game. Like, there you go. I did not paint this. This is a store-bought figure, but I did make a little base for it. There.
That looks good.
It's actually like a Final Fantasy thing. I don't know.
Eric wants to know if you're using quad rules.
Frig is that? What are you talking about?
This is your game. I have no idea. I know is that the hexagon? No, quad would be 4, right? Quad 4. So it must be 4. Like something can attack you from any 4.
I'm pretty sure this is more of a graph paper question.
Okay. I don't know what quad rules are.
I don't know what that means.
I always wanted to play that Star Trek hexagon game. What is it? Starfleet Battles? And they did come up with a PC version of it, but it was all like real time. It wasn't like, you move square.
I don't know. There are a couple of I was surprised. There are so many different like tabletop games that unless you're into that, subgenre of gaming, you'd never hear about this stuff. There's like a Batman one where you get little miniatures and you can play some sort of Batman campaign, or Star Wars ones. It's all this stuff.
Yeah, we used to play a Magic game, or a game that was like Magic, but it was based on the movie The Crow. You remember that
Oh,
movie?
really?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you get a
I
little
don't know.
Ernie Hudson character?
Yeah. There was Ernie Hudson and then all the, because The Crow's a comic book too, right? It's based on some, what was that? Dark Horse
Dark
comics.
Horse Comics?
Yeah. It's one of those.
I don't know. That
Okay.
movie was like, there was such hype behind that. I kept hearing people like, The Crow, it's great, my favorite movie. And watch that. It's like, this movie's weird.
I haven't seen it in forever. I remember liking it when I was a kid, or when I was a teenager in the 90s, but there's quite a few movies that I remember liking back then. And
That's the best way to sum it up. This is something that a teenager in the 90s would like.
yeah, probably. I mean, I tried watching Airheads. Again, I think maybe I talked about it last week, but yeah, it wasn't as good as I remembered.
It was like some heavy metal stoner comedy or something.
So these guys go in, and I guess we're doing movie talk now. These guys go in and break into a radio station. They want their demo tape played, and that's it.
This I'm remembering the trailer. Who's in that?
Brendan Fraser, Steve
Okay.
Buscemi, and your guy, your boy, Adam Sandler.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of other people that have bit parts in it. The guy that plays Fat Tony on The Simpsons that does the voice.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember his name. Montoya or something like that.
I don't know.
He's in it. He plays the role was offered to Howard Stern back in the day, and he plays that part. And it's weird because he's kind of doing this weird sort of Howard Stern impression. Chris Farley's in it as a cop. Ernie Hudson's in it, and Harold Ramis is in it as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, a small cameo, but it's not great. It's not very good. But I say that, and then I watched Hodge's part 1 of his DVD Blu-ray collection video, and he has Airheads, and he said it was great. So, Steven wants to know what's a truck. I have no idea what he's talking about. You think Steven?
Is this from one of your movies?
No, I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. You think Steven, like? Do you think he does a wacky tobacco? Do you think he's?
Nah.
Okay.
That would take away from the toy fund.
That's true. All right. Okay, let's circle back here because I want to know why.
I think Steven's a straight out. I don't think Steven drinks either.
Yeah, I think you're actually right. I think he just likes to be different. Why do you want everyone to know that Gamecubes have batteries?
Fun fact. I just found that out yesterday.
Is that for the clock? The internal clock? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know. I was like, oh, that's neat.
That's great.
And I had the outline open at the time, so I was like, all right, sure.
I'm glad we interrupted movie talk for that.
Well, a few weeks back, that so it's perfect. Mrs. Q Dog
oh, that's Fat Tony
and Steven are here. My wife was seeing commercials for that Animal Crossing game that everybody's playing, and she's like, "Oh, this looks kind of fun. You think maybe I should get that? Maybe we should try that out?" I'm like, "Nah, you're not gonna buy a Switch and buy this game and sit down and play it. You're gonna play it for 5 minutes, and then you're gonna be done." It's like, "No, it looks kind of fun." I'm like, we played that like 20 years ago on the GameCube. She's like, "Oh yeah, do we still have that?" Yeah, all right. So I pulled it out and I set it up. And, this is like a couple of days later that she said it. I was like, "Yeah, here it is if you want to try it out." And she starts playing it. And she's like, "Yeah, I remember this. It was fun." She played it for like half an hour. And then she's done. I was like, "Okay, so you want me to keep this set up?" She's like, "No, I'm done. I'm good." I was like, "Yeah, I told you. You're not going to sit down and play that." My wife plays games like once every 10 years. And then that's it. It holds her. But my kids saw her playing it, and they're like, "Oh, that looks like fun." So they wanted to mess around with it. And then every couple of days, they'd turn it on, and then we realized that the clock was all over the place. It's like, "Oh, okay, I forgot to set it on the system." I set that. And no, it's off again. I just reset it, and now it's like 2 years in the future in the game. What's going on here? Apparently, Gamecubes have batteries for their clock, so I got to switch it up.
Is it an easy switch? Like
You got to desolder and resolder. You got to. It's an easy enough battery to find, but it's not difficult. It's just basic, like. Doo, 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 doo.
I'll sell my GameCube. I'm done with that thing. Someone can have it instead of having to replace it.
It's got Beautiful Joe on there. I mean, you can play that on PlayStation.
I got Beautiful Joe 1 and 2 and the Star Wars Rogue Squadron. But you know what? The emulation is so good now. I can just go.
Well, honestly, if you want to play a Star Wars game, just play that those Battlefront games.
Yeah, that's good too.
They were like,
I could
from what I experienced, that defeats the Rogue Squadron games.
Yeah. Yeah. Although, can you fight you can fight classic stuff like the original 3 movies, right? In Battlefront 1 and 2, like you can fly like an X-Wing and that. Because I remember a large parts of the game was like episode.
Yeah, it does the Clone
3.
Wars.
Yeah,
it does that, but you can do the classic Star Wars stuff.
Can you take down a Star Destroyer? It's been so long since I played it.
Yeah, you have a couple different ships to choose from. You jump into your X-Wing or your A-Wing or your Y-Wing or whatever. You go out, and then to take down a Star Destroyer, you can blow the weapons, along the surface. There are like the shield generators. You can start attacking those, or you can fly into the hangar and then go sabotage.
Right.
Core.
Yeah.
The only thing is you don't get like a satisfying like boom.
Yeah, that's what I liked.
It's just kind of like, oh, mission complete. Congratulations.
Right. That's what I liked in Rogue Squadron. You take all those things out and you take the bridge out and all that, and then that's good.
Oh, I'm sure it's still fine.
Eric reminds me that the GameCube has Metroid Prime, but my Metroid Prime is on the Wii now. I got that collection on the Wii, so if I go back and play it, I'll probably play it on that. And it'll probably be updated again for the Switch or something silly at some point. I just noticed the other day on Amazon, I still have because remember for a hot minute when I owned a Switch, and they announced when I had a Switch, they announced Metroid Prime 4. So I actually pre-ordered it, and that's still in there, and I don't have a Switch anymore. But the pre-order is the price is set at $67, which here in Canada, new games are $90. Well, they're $80. They're $90 after tax. So I kind of just want to keep that in there in case I, for some reason, do buy a Switch, and I'll still have that original price locked in there, unless they change the price, whatever. Anyways,
who needs games?
Yeah, we're 47 minutes in.
Let's get enough free games on the computer.
But you see that deal that they have right now for those indie games? They're doing this.
The like $3,000 worth of games.
Yeah, for $5. That thing is crazy. There's only like 4 games I might have heard of in the whole thing, and I own 3 of them. But
well, that's a charity.
Yeah.
Buy, so.
And you don't get the games on Steam. That doesn't carry over to Steam. You got to go to you have this Twitch.io thing or itch.io thing or something. I don't know. Anyways, we haven't even talked about movies yet. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about Wheels on Meals. I watched it. I got my Blu-ray player, if you might have seen it on the channel.
Yes, I did see the posting there.
I got my region-free, or I should say multi-regional Blu-ray player. It's not really region-free. You still have to switch between regions. Got to reset the console and switch between regions if you want to play on different, want to play a disc from a different region, which is fine. It works out. It works really fine. So the first movie I popped in was Wheels on Meals, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was funny. It's cheesy as all heck, but
cheesy's fine. Could we jump to your point? You're saying that there maybe alternative dubs exist,
right? So you were saying that it might have been a dub thing, and I think that is the case. The version I watched, they redubbed the whole movie because I think there was a problem with the dubbing and it translating to different areas of the world. So I watched the 2006 dub, and plus it was mixed in 5.1 sound, and yeah, it was, I don't know, it was delightful. It was funny. The jokes
Yeah, I
were
don't
landing,
doubt
and
it. Years ago, actually, the when I started to, oh, goodbye, Melissa.
bye, Melissa.
Years ago, when I first found out about Shaolin Soccer, it was through this. Um, what do you call it? In the mall. It's not a store. It's just one of those little booths, like in the center. Um, and there was
Kiosks.
one kiosk. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we had like the movie store, which was overpriced and very expensive, and then there's a little kiosk that just sold kung fu movies, all the stuff that you'd be into. Um, but they were like super cheap. They were all bootlegs, and
Yeah.
the guy's probably printed them out right before he comes to work in the morning.
Right.
And I bought one off there. I think it was Shaolin Soccer that I bought off of there. And I was watching it, and the subtitles, like some of it made no sense, and other times they were just complete typos or misspellings or bad punctuation. Like this was not a quality product. So I imagine that a lot of those videos were exist in different forms. You have the legitimate release. You've got the ones that were just pushed out in a hurry. You got the ones that are being made, secondhand or whatever, all the bootleg stuff. So I imagine, yeah, there probably are multiple versions of subtitles, and that's the benefit of foreign films is you can basically rewrite the story as much as you want, which I imagine is what they do nowadays when like the Hollywood movies go overseas. You just change it to whatever is appropriate for that region. Maybe whatever humor works better, whatever dialogue or story or synopsis, whatever works better. But yeah, the version of Wheels on Meals that I watched, it was just dull. It was completely dull.
Well, that could very well be the problem, was that it was the translation. So I was watching another person that I inspired to make Blu-ray / DVD collection videos is Old Ass Retro Gamer, also known as Chris,
Mm-hmm.
Old Ass. And Old Ass was saying that he has Shaolin Soccer in his collection, but he has the DVD version. And the reason why he's holding on to the DVD version, not getting the Blu-ray version, because the only version you can get on Blu-ray is one that the Weinstein Company had purchased for distribution in North America. And
Mm-hmm.
apparently they changed a few things, including the dubbing and some of the dialogue and all that. And apparently it ruined the movie.
Huh.
And that is the version I watched. That I had no idea there were two different versions, because I remember cringing when I saw Weinstein's name come up in the credits, right? So I'm gonna have to try to find this original version of the movie and give it a second shot.
Steven is also leaving, but he says he has the Chinese bootleg of it.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a Chinese bootleg or something like that. But yeah, that's supposed to be the better version, the version of the movie to watch.
Huh. I don't know. I mean, for Wheels on Meals, I can kind of understand because the movie does have a lot of talking moments where not a lot's happening. It's just based on the back and forth dialogue. And if it's entertaining and witty, you stay with it. And if it's dull and just repetitive, then you can easily get taken out of the movie. With Shaolin Soccer, though, it's very much a visual movie. So I don't know if you were not interested in all of the physical comedy and stuff that you were seeing. Do you think a translation is going to make it all that much better?
Well, there was a lot of it that wasn't making much sense. Like that girl that he meets, and she has like some sort of weird superpower
Mm-hmm.
or something. Like none of it like was explained or anything like that. Like it just kind of felt like as if it was wedged in there. There wasn't any sort of, I don't know. It's just all of a sudden she has this weird power. And if you have this weird power, why are you making donuts for this lady? Or I don't know. The whole thing, none of it was like sinking in. Like, I don't know. Like none of it was. So I don't know. I'm hoping that that's the case. I am going to give Kung Fu Hustle a shot first on because it's on Netflix right now, so it's just easy and convenient to watch. So I'm gonna give that a shot, and if I enjoy that, I'm gonna try to find this Chinese bootleg of Shaolin Soccer.
I'll just say that I enjoy Shaolin Soccer way more than Kung Fu Hustle. Kung Fu Hustle is okay, but I if you don't like Kung Fu Hustle, you still might like Shaolin Soccer.
Okay, all right.
I really don't care.
I'll give them both a shot. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, you know, like that could be it. I don't know.
Whatever it is, it's got to be better than what I watched.
What did you watch?
Last time we talked, we went on about the Batmobile.
Yes.
Which I also sent you that link to the photos of the new Batmobile model. You know, kind of a chunky version of the car, which looks very blocky. It looks very squared. But if it's a model, who knows? I still think the original photo there looks pretty cool. But we were talking about Batmobiles, so I thought, well, maybe I should revisit one of those old Batman movies, because, you know, I've seen the first two a number of times, but that Batman Forever, now I remember seeing that back in the 90s when it came out. Haven't seen it since. And then watching the car, I was like, I've heard some people defend this movie, saying that Val Kilmer was a really good Bruce Wayne and stuff like that. Popped that in, gave it a watch. Wow, is that bad?
Yeah.
It's unbelievably bad, even for a 90s action movie.
Now that one's Batman Forever, right?
Batman Forever with Two-Face and the Riddler.
Right, yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Very empty, very forgettable in terms of enjoyment factor. I was surprised, though. There are a lot of moments, especially with Jim Carrey, that are kind of, I don't know if they're iconic or whatever, but it's like there are so many lines of Jim Carrey's that really stand out. And they're very memorable. Maybe they were just all over the place when the movie was coming out.
In the trailer, probably.
The trailers and stuff, but it's like movements and things like, I haven't seen this movie in so long, but I remember this. I remember him saying that and exactly how he says it.
That's, sorry to interrupt, but that's how I felt with the X-Men movie, X-Men 1 and 2. Because there were scenes like, oh, I remember that. Like Wolverine doing a pose or whatever. I'm like, gee, how come I remember that, but I don't remember these other things? And then the trailers, of course, are attached to Blu-ray. So I checked out the trailers. I'm like, oh, these were all in the trailer. And I probably saw them about 50 times on TV.
Steven just watched it too. It's so flat. Underdeveloped characters, bad dialogue, stiff performances, that hokey attempt at camp while still trying to use that then new darker style. It was bad. But I remember Batman and Robin being even worse. And that's one that I've seen. I didn't see when it came out. I only saw that like within the past 10 years or so. I can't imagine going back and trying to watch that if it's worse than what I just sat through. Yeah, granted, I did watch it over a series of nights, and I was doing other things while I had it on. But
I was so hyped for Batman Forever. It looked so good in the trailers. I was a huge fan of Jim Carrey. You know, I loved Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber, and I thought he would be the perfect Riddler. Just like that's just perfect casting, right? Fred Gorshin had, you know,
Frankie
Baby had the. You know, just I could just see Jim Carrey doing a great imitation of that and just coming off really well. The trailers looked. I think I stayed away from the trailers for the most part for that movie because I was interested in seeing it, right? So anytime I was interested in seeing a movie, like I remember watching the trailers for, it was really Wayne's World, and then when I went to see the movie, I was really disappointed that I knew like so much stuff that was already happening because I had consumed so much of it beforehand that it kind of ruined the movie for me a little bit. So I stayed away from a lot of it, and then that was the only movie where I almost walked out of the theater, but I was with other people that didn't care and just wanted to watch the movie. So, and they were my ride home. So like, okay. But I mean, I remember just, it was just so bad. And that was the only time I've ever seen it. It was in the 90s in the theater. I've never seen it since, maybe like 2 minutes on TV or something, but watched it that one time. I remember, I think it was that movie too, where it was like Batman and Robin. Like the whole thing was like, is Robin going to stay with Batman? Is Robin going to like are they going to be a team? Are they going to be the duo? And it's like, everybody knows this already. Like, we know Batman and Robin get together. Like
the movie that's called Batman and Robin.
Well, that was the sequel, right? This one was Batman Forever, right?
Batman Forever.
Yeah, I keep getting the titles mixed
up. Oh, you're talking about this one?
Yeah. Oh, then the one with the Batman and Robin, the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I saw that on my roommate's 14-inch TV. She got it because she was working at a rental store, so she would just come home with whatever. Like she would come home on a Thursday night with the rent, like before it hit the shelves on the Friday night. So we got to see like the rentals early. Yeah, like a whole day early. And she came in with that, and I'm like, oh man, this is not going to be good times. And it was not good. No. And hello, Bill, in the comments. We're tearing apart the
Batman Forever.
Batman Forever.
Don't worry.
And Batman and Robin.
So I can't imagine you defending this one.
If he does, you lose cred, man. There's no defending. Like you said, like it'd be one thing if it was just camp, but they try to hold on to that darkness too, and none of it works.
No.
Joel Schumacher is a hack. Like just.
I heard he and Val Kilmer did not get along on set. And that's why Kilmer only did the one movie. But he really looks like he just does not care.
Yeah.
Everything is so flat.
Yeah. Whatever. Like they say Clooney ruined Batman, but it was ruined way before that. Oh,
yeah. And you know, what are you going to do? You just do what the director tells you. You only got so much input.
Yeah.
If it's a bad premise.
Like Patrick Stewart. That's pretty much what he does. Because, and I have the evidence because I just finished rewatching X-Men: The Last Stand, aka X-Men 3.
Ooh,
yeah, that movie makes no sense whatsoever. So there's something really wrong with the whole X-Men continuity. Like they just don't seem to care too much about it at all. Because there's things that happen in X-Men: The Last Stand that just kind of go nowhere. Like I don't know what it's.
Well, they switched directors, so yeah, you got somebody else's vision.
Brett Ratner.
Yeah,
did that one.
I don't know. And again, it's like the whole thing again just becomes, hey, Wolverine has to learn how to be a team player. There's the moral of the movie again.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, that was really wedged in there very awkwardly.
That's awkward. Then you got the whole like anti-mutant serum.
Okay, so let's rewind. So the first two movies happen, right? And a spoiler alert for these movies. If you haven't seen the X-Men movies, I don't know what's wrong with you, because they're bajillion years old. So Jean Grey dies at the end of the second movie. And there's a bit of a love triangle between her and Cyclops and Wolverine. All three of them want to get together. Not Wolverine and Cyclops, but the other two. Those two want to get together with Jean Grey. And she loves Cyclops. She also loves Wolverine.
Well, she doesn't love Wolverine. She's got like a
passion. She's got a thing.
She got a little like curiosity going.
I think it's more than curiosity. By the time
nothing ever happens between them.
Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes. The sheets are definitely ruffled. big time. And Wolverine is absolutely in love with Jean Grey. He's a kind of
he is
obsessed with her.
infatuated. That's
right,
true. Yes.
right. But no, she does like if Scott wasn't in the picture, she definitely would be with Logan. So at the beginning of this movie, Jean Grey, like, because she dies at the end of the second one in some flood thing with the
She
dam and all that
sacrifices
stuff.
herself
She
so everyone
sacrifices
can get
herself.
away.
She's underneath the water. So she's underneath the water, and she sends out a signal to Professor X. Professor X catches the signal and says, "Scott, you go over to the lake." Well, not me, who got the message. I don't go over there. Scott, you go over there to the lake and find out what's going on. So he heads over to the lake, and she just kills him.
Yeah, off screen.
Yeah, you don't even see what happens. Just you're dead.
No.
I was like,
well, that was because Bryan Singer had left to go do that Superman Returns movie, and
that awful thing. Yes.
And James Marsden, who played Cyclops, went with him. He played Lois Lane's husband.
Oh,
in that movie.
he's the third wheel.
So yeah, he left the project. He was still contractually obligated to be in the third X-Men movie.
I see.
But they basically just threw him in there to do his obligation. That's why he never gets a costume. He's never like in character. He doesn't really do anything. It's just, all right, let me have a couple scenes and then I'm out of here.
Wow. Okay.
So the movie, had some troubles.
Okay.
And Bill is saying it looks like they ran out of budget midway through. I don't know if they had.
It was a very expensive movie. I did watch some of the. I do like to check, like, especially with bad movies. It's fun to check out the extras on the Blu-ray to see like how full of shit all the actors are when they're because a lot of it is promotion for the movie, and that's like, oh, this is the greatest thing. It's the greatest.
I think this is the best one that we've done yet.
We have done so many of these, but this is the one that's going to really reach a lot of people. We got and the message that they have, or their character has some sort of message. It's all horseshit. Anyways, what the heck was I talking about?
I know it was also they also had to bump up Halle Berry's performance because she was becoming a much bigger star than when the movies started.
Yeah.
So she had to get more screen time. They had to do more with Storm, which she's a good character, so they should do something with her. But by then it was like you got the Patrick Stewart and the Professor X and Magneto thing. You got the Wolverine thing. You got the Jean Grey thing. It's like they're building up all these characters, but they don't have time for all of it. And it's just cram it all in there. Throw a Sentinel in there too. Yeah. Let's get that out there for people.
Well, it was the most expensive movie. Like they did spend a lot of money, and to this day, X-Men 3, X-Men: The Last Stand is the X-Men movie that has made the most money.
Well, after X2, of course you want to go
Yeah.
see it. It's just like Batman Forever. I'm sure that made a lot of money.
Yeah, I suppose so. So there was that. So so there's this serum that can cure mutants of their powers, which all the mutants are dead set against, and that causes this friction between humanity and the mutants, and everybody is gonna fight. At no point does anyone ask, is this a permanent thing? Is it temporary? Is it permanent? No one thinks to ask that until the end when you see Magneto sitting there and he moves a chess piece without touching it. Ooh. And the thing that kind of bothered me too was like, so Anna Paquin's rogue, and she has her ability is if she touches somebody, she can absorb their power. But it leaves the other mutant dead, or their skin starts to dry. They get really bad dry skin, or they're dead. I don't know which. But this is a good thing for her. Like for some of the mutants out there, this is actually a pretty good thing. Like, so why can't this serum be for the mutants who want it, and the serum not be for the mutants who don't want it? Like, I didn't.
It was not a very good idea.
Yeah, and then there's so many characters that are just introduced in this movie that are just there for like one specific purpose, and then they're not used again.
Trailer shots.
That and like there would be like there was one guy who could create 100 of himself. So like when you see him, you think there's 100 people there, but there's really only the one guy. And so the mutants, the bad mutants, go and take off. They go somewhere, and this American satellite tracks them all and sees all these mutants. And like, oh, there's the mutants. That's them all. And when they get there, it's that one guy. And that's all he's there for. It's just that one thing, so that the other ones can get away. There's that guy that's got like porcupine spikes.
Yeah, Bill just mentioned him, hedgehog mutant.
Yeah, that was like it was awful. Bill is right. He says it was the worst character ever. It was terrible. They did nothing with him, like absolutely nothing. And he had the worst. It looked cool. It reminded me of that Family Guy episode where they all have mutant powers, and Meg's mutant powers that her nails can grow, like her nails just come out like a few inches, and she can scratch you. Meanwhile, like the other ones have like telekinesis and all that stuff. Anyways. And then the Jean Grey thing was just very disappointing. Like you're waiting for this whole thing where they got she turns into the Phoenix, and you're waiting for like a big send off and that, and she just like is moody throughout the whole thing and just stands in the background while all the other characters run around, and she doesn't really do too much. It sucked. It was a terrible movie. But Professor X dies in this movie. Jean Grey kills Professor X.
That was the thing that threw me the most. At the end of the movie, it's like, okay, Cyclops dead, Professor X is dead, Jean Grey's dead. What were they planning on doing with the rest of this franchise?
I don't know, but I've been watching the movies that follow it, and Professor X keeps popping up in all the other movies. I don't I thought this guy's dead. He's like the next movie. Oh, there he is. Oh,
I had a question about that years ago, and Curtis said like they fixed it in they rebooted the timeline or something.
Maybe I haven't got to that movie yet because I watched. So let me tell you, I watched X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I think he pops up in. No, he doesn't pop in that one. No, he's not in that one. Then I watched X-Men First Class
with the young Xavier and young Magneto.
Yeah, those are the young guys. And then I watched the Wolverine. That's the Wolverine one.
Okay.
And at the end of that movie, Professor X shows up, and he's in the wheelchair, and Magneto is there as well. And they're like, Wolverine, you have to come with us because something crazy is about to happen. So maybe that's the build up to the next movie. But at no point so far have they explained like how he is still alive, how he's still around.
I guess that's your cliffhanger. Like, whoa, what's going on here?
I guess so. So maybe I'll find out in the next one.
There is no permadeath in comic books.
No, I understand that. I just want an explanation on how he's still around. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he had like weird little cameos in the other movies. Like I remember that's right. Well, he was in Origins because Wolverine like saves a bunch of them, and I don't know. And then Professor in X-Men First Class, that's the one that takes place back in time, and young Professor X and young Magneto go to recruit Wolverine, and Wolverine in the movie just tells him to fuck off. Like that's his language, which is a pretty funny scene. He just like looks up, fuck off, and they go. But it makes no sense. Like why? Because in the first X-Men movie, he meets them for the first time. I was like, does Professor X not remember going to track the guy with the claws out in Canada, trying to bring him into the fold? Kind of thing.
I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, have you seen Origins? Wolverine Origins?
I've seen parts of it.
Yeah, it's not. That one's not.
I know it's terrible. I remember seeing that the studio's first attempt at Deadpool.
Oh yeah, that was really. Now I will say Ryan Reynolds at the beginning before they turn him into Deadpool, he's just Wade. He's Wade Wilson, yeah. Right, and he's got two swords in that. And he's doing the quips and stuff like that, and it's a precursor to what you would see him do later in the Deadpool movies, and that's actually pretty good.
Well, yeah, apparently he told them flat out, like, what you're doing with this character is completely wrong, and people are going to, complain. He was a big fan of the character, so he always wanted to do it the way he eventually got to do it. So, good for him.
So Bill says the epilogue of X-Men 3 has his conscience transferring. Yeah, there is a shot of somebody in a hospital bed. You don't really see who it is. And Professor X voice says something to the nurse. And I didn't understand what any of that was. And I figured, well, that's him coming back to life or something.
It's a vague thing that you can interpret into a couple of different things, so they have options to do whatever they want to do in the sequel.
I guess they like completely obliterated his atoms. Like, I get it. Like, I mean, like, look at Star Trek 3, right? They brought Spock back. You know, Spock died in 2, he comes back in 3. But there's an explanation. The whole Genesis planet, he's a little boy, all that stuff, you know.
Remember.
Yeah, exactly. As hokey as it is, there's at least an explanation. This, they don't even bother to explain it. It just happens. Anyways,
Star Trek.
X-Men First Class was fun. That was a good movie. There's a few things in it that's kind of like Kevin Bacon is the villain. And
Kevin Bacon, really?
Yeah, and he plays Sebastian Shaw. And
it's Sabretooth.
No. He's the guy he can like if you throw a missile at him, he can harness the missile's power and he can hold it
Victor
in his hand.
Creed. What am I thinking?
That was another weird thing too. Sabretooth is in the first movie, played by a completely different actor, and then in Origins they had Liv Schreiber play Wolverine, play Sabretooth, but he's like buddies with Wolverine, like they're like best friends and they're brothers or something. And then in that first movie, I know Wolverine gets his memory erased, which is kind of stupid, but I don't know. Anyways, First Class was good, even though there was a few hokey things. So, so Kevin Bacon's the villain, but he wants to take over the world. You don't really understand his motivation. He's just kind of a bad guy. But I like they give Magneto like this revenge thing. Like he really wants revenge because the Nazis killed his mom. This is in the first few minutes of the movie, so I'm not spoiling anything. In the first few minutes, the Nazis kill his mom, so he's like out for like revenge. Like he just hates. He's got the hate for Sebastian Shaw because he was part of the Nazi group. So he's chasing after him. So that was kind of fun.
Oh, can I quickly say one positive thing about X3?
Yeah.
The only thing I remember that I liked in there is when Magneto is like recruiting new evil mutants or something. I remember, I think it was the mutant hedgehog guy who's like, "Hey, where's your mark? Don't you have a tattoo of like your that?" And he holds up his numbers from being in the concentration camp. And he's like, "I've already been marked. No ink will ever touch my skin again."
Yeah,
I thought that was a nice Magneto moment.
Yeah,
it stunk that he was hanging out with a bunch of mutant teenagers trying to get them to help him. But
I will say, like Ian McKellen was probably the best Magneto in that movie. Like he had like some really good moments, and he was really focused on like what he was doing. Like he did, and the whole scene where he raises the Golden Gate Bridge and moves it over, that was like really. It didn't look too cheesy, you know. It did like they could have really screwed that up with the CG. That looked pretty good, but that was really like, you know, you're really trying to find something to enjoy with that movie. I mean, I didn't like hate it. I wasn't like it. Just so much of it is just poorly written. You know, it's just this is really bad writing.
No, a good example is in X2. You know, it was kind of a silly scene, but when he escapes the prison with the fine bits of metal.
Yeah,
you know, he's got the balls like going all over. Kind of silly with him flying out, but yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was
done really well.
Yeah, pulled it off. Too bad, man. It's too bad because they build up so much. Oh yeah, and then so Beast is in X-Men 3. He's Kelsey Grammer.
Frazier is in X-Men 3.
And then in this First Class movie, Beast is there, but like they don't. I don't know. He's like friends with them. Like he's best. Like this is like the weird thing. Like in the First Class, Mystique and Professor X grow up together. They're like brother and sister. Like they adopt her. And in the previous movies, it's like they don't even know each other. You know?
Yeah, I guess they just threw whatever. Because Beast appears in X-Men 2 also. They have
he's in the background, right?
There's when Mystique is in the bar with the security guy up on the monitor, there's an interview with Dr. Hank McCoy, who is still human.
Oh, okay.
And the actor who played him in that scene was actually the actor who did the voice of Beast in the 90s cartoon.
Oh,
And then they bring him in the third movie, and now
that's
he's the
Kelsey
Blue
Grammer.
Beast, and he's someone else. And then I guess you go back in time, and he was Blue Beast before then. So I don't know.
Yeah, I thought he could change back and forth. I thought he could change to that blue thing or human. That's
No,
what I remembered, but obviously that was not the case.
no. They did that with the Thing in the comics for a while. He had a ring. He had a magic instead of just being the Thing all the time. He had some ring where he'd
Oh,
say,
really?
he had some stupid line too, like "Thing ring, do your thing," and he would
Oh my
like.
god. That's no good because that's part of his character that I like is that he got
He's
like
stuck.
he got the crappy deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, Invisible Woman's still hot. Reed Richards is distinguished. Johnny Flame or whatever, Flame
Johnny
On.
Storm.
That's his name. You know, he's got the and then things stuck as this big orange ugly thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. You can relate to that. I mean, ugly people can relate to that. Okay, and then I watched the Wolverine, and this movie just seems like as if they had Hugh Jackman and they're like, okay, we got to make a movie, and they didn't want to like interfere too much with the other prequel franchise. They didn't want to dick around with it too much, so they let's just send him to Japan and he fights ninjas. So that's
probably a smarter idea to make it a little one-off rather than try to tie together all these different films that don't seem to be connected all that well.
Yeah, and they wrapped up his relationship with Jean Grey really nicely, which is something that poor Cyclops should have had. Even though I don't like him and I want to punch him in the face, poor Cyclops, man, he got the real raw deal. But yeah, that was a pretty good movie. Except the ending left me confused. But maybe I gotta watch X-Men. What's the next one? Days of Future Past or something? I gotta watch that one next. I just haven't got there yet. Okay, that's it. I could talk about more movies, but we're at an hour 20, so
we're just talking about old bad comic book movies.
Yeah, that's pretty much this whole episode, right?
I did start watching the new season of Trailer Park Boys, the animated one.
Oh yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
It seems like they are trying to use Lahey less.
Yeah, I think they had to. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you got to phase him out at some point, but I think they used him quite a bit in the first season of that. But
yeah,
slow it down.
Well, it was all. That's right. Okay, it's coming back to me. It was all clips from the show.
Yeah, they just take clips, which was really a quite clever way to do it.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's extremely difficult to try to find all the.
So let's explain for people who don't understand what we're talking about. So Jim Lahey is a character in Trailer Park Boys, and the actor who played Jim Lahey passed away before they started this animated series. And so a way to still have the character in the animated series is that they made him basically an imaginary friend for Randy. Anytime Randy gets in trouble or whatever, he channels Mr. Lahey. And Mr. Lahey appears, only Randy can see him, and it's just clips from the past show that they splice together into a really bizarre conversation between the two.
Well, it works with his character because he was a drunk and he'd always be talking gibberish, and that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah. And Randy would always pick up things and think, oh, this is what Mr. Lahey means, kind of thing. So it does work on some level, but yeah. Bill just finished watching it too.
So thanks for spoiling the animated series for him.
I didn't spoil anything. I set up a premise for him in the animated series. So he finished watching the regular series and he's ready to watch the animated series.
How did that happen? How did I watch this before Bill?
I don't know.
I thought that was like part of your Canadian culture. Everybody's got to watch.
I don't know. I was surprised when he started watching again that he wasn't up to date. So I don't know. I've been up to date.
It does make me want to go back and watch the earlier stuff though, because the animated series it's fine. It felt a little flat when I started watching it again. Like they're just going through the motions. There's that reference. There's that reference. But then I got a couple of good laughs out of me too.
And they had a few episodes where they were able to do stuff that would never be able to happen in the show.
Yeah, I like when they keep it fairly grounded. That one episode in
the ocean. Yeah.
They went further than that.
Oh, and that's right. They go to space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those might be some spoilers for Bill. I don't know.
Whatever.
Okay, that's it. We are done. Follow Retro Fandango on Twitter at retro_Fandango, and go check out our Discord. Vote for the third movie. We got Defender, Dope, 8th Grade, The Lobster, Midsommar, and Wet Hot American Summer. If you don't want 8th Grade to win, you better get in there, because 8th Grade is running away with it right now. Get a boner with Retro Fandango. That's it. Anything else? Anything else you'd like to say?
No. I'm going to find out what treasure I got because I defeated some hobgoblins right before we started recording. My warrior slew 3 of them, which caused a morale check because there were 5. And when their numbers are reduced to less than half, then they got a roll to see if they're going to continue fighting or if they're going to run away. And they ran away. So now I get to pick up the treasure that they dropped.
I just
could
would
be
like
coins, could be something really impressive.
I'm excited for you. I can't wait for you to experience that. I just want to let all our Discord friends know that right now someone in the comments is trying to skirt past the Discord rule and is trying to get their vote in through the comments, and it's not going to happen. It's not happening. You have to go to Discord.
No, I accept it.
Nope.
I am.
Nope. Discord or nothing.
That's not everyone uses this Discord thing you speak of.
Not everyone is here in this chat, so Discord. That's it. We're here to promote Discord.
Nope.
Had some good conversations there this week, actually.
I would like to promote diversity and let people choose the platform they like.
We have been diverse, and we have put the water on the other homes already. We've done that, and now Discord is the one that's on fire, and we got to take care of that. We're taking care of Discord right now.
It doesn't count if you're the one who sets it on fire. Okay, you can't create your own problem.
People want me to watch Barry on HBO. That was the big thing in Discord. Everyone's saying Barry is great. And another show, Bored to Death. Haven't seen that one. I recommend people watch The Jinx. That's a good HBO if you have the HBO. Jeez.
Nobody needs a Discord, Bill. Nobody.
Look, Discord does stuff a little different, and it's easier to have a conversation with people on there. You can leave messages basically for people, for everyone to join into the chat. It's a different platform, and you can do things a little differently.
You know what I can do? I can go to Twitter right now. Look at this. I'm going into my messages here. Search for people and groups. STC Pod. There you go. Look at that. I'm having a conversation with my friend Bill on the Twitters right now. No Discord.
Why are we on YouTube? If we should just stick to Twitter, why are we?
I have no idea why we're on YouTube.
Why are we doing this right now? Why are we streaming right now? Why are we on Podbean? Why do we do that? Why don't we just stick to Twitter? Why don't we just post the audio onto Twitter?
Yeah, seriously.
Why do we do other things?
Yeah, why are we doing all this?
Oh,
You're asking the same question I am.
All right. Friggin' Fox, freaking Archie Bunker, and Fred Sanford wrapped up into one ball right there.
That's a nice sandwich.
That's my guy. I've been watching Sanford and Son too. It's good.
Oh yeah.
Good times.
I know you picked up like the complete series a little while ago.
We're on season 3 right now. We watch at least 2-3 episodes a day. It's so good. so far. Some of the stuff hasn't aged too well. There's a little bit of gay.
Well, it is a product of the times.
Yeah.
It definitely sparked conversation. That was the goal, right? Of things like Sanford and Son and All in the Family, just commenting on society.
Right, and it's usually Fred Sanford, who's the old, out of touch guy.
Yeah,
that's the joke for the most part.
Well, yeah, Steven loves Twitter too.
Sure, Twitter's great. Use Twitter. We promote Twitter on here, but it's not the end all and be all.
That's all I need. Gets the job done.
It doesn't. That's the point. That's the point. We can't do everything on Twitter. There's some things that Discord does. That's better. It's good. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. That's it, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye.